Hello, my name is Anjani, and this is going to be a brief video about alchemy. Alchemy, to me, in the basic use of the word, I use a lot of times the words yogic alchemy, or the book that I wrote is called The Alchemy of Intimacy. Basically, the way that I use that word has to do with combining a vast amount of knowledge and information and combining them together to create a different substance than what each of those things would be on their own. The real alchemy, when you look at it from a scientific perspective, has to do with taking in a lab specific ingredients and combining them together through usually maybe a 5 or 6 step process that goes through, the common things that you say if you're brewing beer. There's going to be a distillation process. There's going to be a time where you filter and take the substance out and filter it through a liquid into a liquid form. There's going to be different steps. And I'm not getting into the specifics of the scientific way, although when I was going through this alchemical transformation, I was literally taking I think it's 5 or 6 different steps of alchemy and going through them metaphorically in my life. When I got to distillation, that was the one kind of really intense, took a little bit longer, like a few months longer than the rest of the process. And at the time, I was really good friends with a scientist who actually brewed beer and kombucha and all this kind of thing. So I actually asked him to explain that from his scientific perspective, which really helps to break down and integrate the metaphysical, metaphorical ways that we can do alchemy within our own psyche and our consciousness. But I'm not talking about that now because obviously it's not my specialty. It's beyond my mental faculty because I haven't studied that at all. But what I am going to talk about is the ways that we are transforming in our physical bodies and how that physical transformation works with our mental programming and our emotional set point and the shifts and changes that we'll have within those different layers of our being. So, mental programming, our psychological functioning, and the motion of energy or emotion, the way that that moves. And, most people recognize when they're having an emotional response and they know the difference from the emotional response to the psychological response and then the bodily response. So, something hurts, there's inflammation or nervous stomach, have to go to the bathroom, or, whatever kind of things happen with the physical body. So, something that I just realized, which was a big brain popper for me, is that I focus more on the psychological and the emotional transformation. And I use yogic alchemy a lot because of the steps and techniques that we can use through yoga to have these transformations. The physical body, I mostly have kept it in my mind as like, okay, well, we need to clean. So I focus a lot on transformation through cleansing. And I know that they all communicate and work together. I know that. But the alchemy of the inner physical body, it just didn't click until today. That First, let me give an example. I have this teacher. I have a lot of teachers. There are 2 of them specifically that I'm thinking of who are really psychic, really into getting into the other realms of being. You might say, well, they're psychic. So they can sense into other strands of reality very quickly, just instantly, but their physical bodies are look completely, to me, look unhealthy. They're very large. There's a lot of extra flesh. Eyes are sort of yellowish and, sticky. You can, when they mouth moves, you can see a little bit of that white, like spit coming out, and um, drink soda, eat donuts. Just really, really not, in my view, honoring the nutritional needs of the physical body. And I question both of them about this. Like, how do you run energy through your body? And, how are you able to tune into these other realms of consciousness and reality through sugar and soda? And this is a very innocent question. I'm not judging at all because I honestly am curious about that. And one of them said it made absolutely no difference to her. And, she kind of slumps down when she does her meditation, and when she does her channeling, she's kind of slumping down. So the spine is kind of contracted, and she still does fabulous work. And because for me, when my spine is elongated and I'm breathing fully, inhaling, my lungs expand fully, and then exhaling, I can feel everything squeezing out and making space for the next breath. There's this whole thing that I feel like I need to feel and able to get centered and in my space for doing any kind of psychic or channeling or energetic work. And her answer was that it made absolutely no difference. And, so I was like, oh, okay, everybody's different. The other lady said that it was a problem for her. She felt addicted to the sweets. She couldn't change it. It kind of bothered her. And she was uncomfortable, having pain and, needing medical attention often. And she just didn't really know how to manage her physical body. But she's a complete wizard and genius with her astral body and with her psychic energy and with her thoughts and her mental acuity and perception of where she's going in that other realm. So this connection between the body, the psyche, the spirit, the soul, all of these kind of different layers of ourself, what just dawned on me, I had this memory of the cross when I was in church. I went to Catholic church. I went to a lot of different kinds of church, but my grandparents were Catholic. So when I stayed with them, we went to the Catholic church. And I remember the INRI, I think it was, at the top of the cross. And I always, as a kid, what does that mean? What does that mean? And nobody could tell me. Never knew. I have this book called Jewish Mysticism, and just kind of looking through it, and this other book I have on Mary Magdalene and the symbology, and I found it. And so exciting to learn that those letters symbolize, or it was the first letter of, it was like earth, air, wind, fire. Earth, air, wind? No, earth, air, water, fire. Maybe not in that direct order, but either way, that was what they symbolized. And in that moment, I had this imagery of the alchemy being when our inner elements were in perfect alignment. So that and this is from Ayurveda also, part of getting in balance in Chinese medicine and in Ayurveda is having our inner elements of earth, air, water, and fire being in harmony with each other, being in flowing in their own dance that is unique to each individual, but having them be harmonious. And so what I've been working with lately, I've been doing a lot of cleansing, been following the Gerson therapy, healing my body and working very, very deeply on the interconnectedness between my psychology, my mental programming, my emotions, how the currents flow and change in my emotional awareness, and then getting the physical body more in harmony with those other two layers, which is the third piece that I hadn't quite really been getting so much into. And what I saw was that the inner alchemy was getting actually the minerals in our physical body in harmony with the structure, the structures of the water, the crystallization in the body. And oftentimes people have mineral imbalance. Mostly everybody has mineral imbalance because the soil in our earth is going through a lot of changes. And even if you're eating a fully organic diet, it's very, very challenging to get the right amount of minerals that are specific to you. And something that I've always taught to people who come to me for nutrition counseling is intuitive eating. Even if it doesn't make sense, listening to what your body is asking for. Going into the grocery store and getting into that space of not rational thinking, but listening more than the talking, than the outward projection of energy, and going and picking things that you don't know what they are maybe, but it's like, oh yes, I need this. And that's the way I discovered burdock root, which discovered that at a time I was working a lot with my liver, and come to find out burdock root was very tonifying and cleansing to the liver. So basically, the inner alchemy having to do with not only going through your emotional process and letting that be something that works also with your mind and your mental process, but then also getting the body online and having those three transformations happening at the same time. So there you go, the inner alchemy. Finding out how you yourself can experience harmony with your own cells, your DNA, the water in your body, the earth in your body, the air, the fire. And it seems like everybody's going to be having different things happening, but Uranus just entered into the sign of Taurus. And I think part of this sudden awakening on, oh, alchemy in the physical body has to do with that Uranus entering Taurus and things changing suddenly. So whatever you're able to do at this time to get your body in harmony within its own self, the cells communicating with each other, which they most likely are, unless it's a cancerous situation, they're not communicating with each other and they're actually in a little mini war with themselves. Other than that, they probably are communicating. So for us to be able to slow down and listen more to how do you feel? How does your stomach feel? So letting yourself breathe into your own body, letting the spaces expand, listening more, and just allowing what's happening within you to be okay. And Uranus entering into Taurus can bring sudden changes. So something that might be happening is the body getting thrown offline, or the body being suddenly thrown back into line, which can also be sort of jostling, and it's an awakening type of vibe. So thank you so much for listening to my video. I really had one thing to say, which was that those letters above the cross, and INRI, I think it is, from my memory of seeing that there, stood for earth, water, air, and fire, and maybe not in that order. And I think that was either Latin or maybe it was in Hebrew. I'm not exactly sure. But that the inner alchemy has something to do with that, with the elements in our physical body, so that we're able to turn lead into gold within our own body. And it may not be that we're turning our insides and our cells and all that into actual gold, but maybe we are. If you've read anything about Ormus, it is a gold. So maybe the dense, heavier things in our body can be combined in the right particular way that's alkaline, not acidic. And maybe this does turn us into gold. I'm going to be 40 next year in 2019. And I have been looking at myself lately in the mirror and in pictures, and I'm like, wow, 40, huh? I didn't expect that 40 would look or feel like this. I literally feel better than I have any other time in my life. And I feel like I look prettier, radiant, youthful. And I just wonder if it has anything to do with my lifestyle. I eat all organic. I've been doing this Gerson therapy, so I've been doing a lot of coffee enemas, followed by drinking apple cider vinegar with water and honey, and just doing a lot of really healthy things for my body, being out in nature as much as possible, and practicing lots of meditation, lots of breathing exercises. And I really, really do feel amazing. So maybe that is the inner alchemy. Maybe this is our own birthright, being able to tune into the rhythms and timings of nature and get in where you fit in and be about it, being about that instead of just looking at it like, oh, that's a beautiful rhythm, but being able to actually be that rhythm. So, thank you so much. I look forward to connecting with you soon.